Good evening and welcome to Verdict 2014 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ishan Russell and there are just 24 hours to go for campaigning in Jharkhand and Jammu and Kashmir, and political parties are trying every trick in the book to woo the voter. We'll be telling you all about that over the next 15 minutes, but first a look at the headlines. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi terms the Congress-BJP battle a contrast between inclusiveness and hegemony as he reaches out to voters in Dumka and Godda. Celebrity faces as well as regional party leaders step up the heat in Jammu and Kashmir and Jharkhand as the campaigning deadline nears. And youth in poll-bound border areas of Jammu and Kashmir say they will not succumb to militant threats, vow to come out to vote in large numbers in the fifth and final phase. Our top story, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi today promised power into the hands of the people of Jharkhand, distinguishing his party's ideology from what he called the one-man show of the BJP. Gandhi campaigned in Dumka and Godda today ahead of polling here on Saturday.
After Katwa and Rajouri on Tuesday, Rahul Gandhi reached out to the tribals of Dumka in Jharkhand, focusing once again on what he calls the chief difference between his party and the BJP. Gandhi termed it a clash between inclusion and hegemony, of giving power to the people and grabbing it for one man at the center.
वो सोचते हैं कि अगर हिंदुस्तान को बदलना है तो उसको आप लोग नहीं बदलोगे, हिंदुस्तान का किसान नहीं बदलेगा, हिंदुस्तान का मजदूर नहीं बदलेगा, हिंदुस्तान का आदिवासी नहीं बदलेगा। वो सोचते हैं कि सिर्फ एक आदमी हिंदुस्तान को बदल सकता है और उसका नाम है नरेंद्र मोदी।
Rahul alleged Gujarat has the highest number of unaddressed cases of land grab, cases that arose when Narendra Modi was chief minister, and he warned of power being snatched from the people and given to a select few, of promises blatantly broken.
चुनाव के समय उन्होंने कहा था अच्छे दिन आएंगे, अच्छे दिन आएंगे। किसके लिए अच्छे दिन आएंगे आप उनसे पूछिए। आदिवासियों के लिए नहीं, किसान के लिए नहीं, मजदूर के लिए नहीं, इन महिलाओं के लिए नहीं, 4-5 बिजनेसमैन के लिए अच्छे दिन आएंगे।
Rahul alluded sarcastically to the Prime Minister's Swachh Bharat scheme as a measure to move the poor out of the way, but do nothing for their poverty.
कहते हैं हिंदुस्तान की सफाई करनी और आपको झाड़ू पकड़ा दिया, कहिए लो भैया झाड़ू, झाड़ू लगाओ, मजे लो, हम आपकी जमीन लेंगे, हम आपका पानी लेंगे और आप लगाओ झाड़ू।
He stressed that giving power to the people was the only way to cure Jharkhand's troubles and held out promises of cheap rations, free electricity for farmers and employment for youth.
कांग्रेस पार्टी सरकार में आएगी झारखंड में तो आपकी सरकार बनेगी, किसी एक व्यक्ति की सरकार नहीं बनेगी। आप लोगों की, गरीब लोगों की, कमजोर लोगों की, आदिवासियों की सरकार बनेगी। और जो आपका जल है, आपका जंगल है, आपकी जमीन है, उसकी शक्ति आपको दी जाएगी, किसी बाहर के लोगों को नहीं दी जाएगी, किसी 2-3 उद्योगपतियों को नहीं दी जाएगी। विकास का काम होगा तो झारखंड की जनता के लिए विकास का काम होगा।
The Congress Vice President spoke to media persons after the rally, once again pointing out what he called sharp differences in the approach of the BJP and Congress to elections and government.
जब तक हम अपनी जनता को अधिकार नहीं देंगे, जब तक हम उनको राजनीतिक सिस्टम में नहीं लाएंगे, जब तक हम उनको शक्ति नहीं देंगे, तब तक झारखंड जैसे प्रदेश आगे नहीं जा सकते।
Thursday is the last date of campaigning in Jharkhand and Jammu and Kashmir for the last phase of polling on the 20th of December. Counting for all phases will be held on the 23rd. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha Chief Shibu Soren campaigned in Nawara area of Deoghar district. Campaigning for the local candidates, Speaker Shashank Shekhar Bokta, Soren hit out at the Congress and the BJP, saying they're only opportunistic players in the state's politics. He said the BJP was only interested in looting the state's mineral resources. He said only the JMM that knew the ground realities in the state could bring about real development. Shibu Soren's son, sitting Chief Minister Hemant Soren, is contesting from Dumka, which also goes to the polls in the fifth phase.
झारखंड का विकास छोड़ के हम तो दूसरा काम कुछ कर नहीं सकते, इसीलिए बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण समय है। आपको चुनना है और मेरे पास भेजना है, और किनको चुनना है किनको आपको भेजना है वो आपको पता है।
On to Jammu and Kashmir, where People's Democratic Party patron Mufti Mohammad Saeed today attacked the Omar Abdullah government in the state, saying it had failed on all fronts, particularly in areas of bringing peace and development. Addressing an election rally in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district, Saeed said the NDA government headed by Narendra Modi doubted the credentials of the Omar Abdullah regime. He said the centre has even refused to sanction funds to the state government for flood relief work and chose to help victims directly. Saeed said the failures of the present government had hit all sections of society and positive initiatives taken by the previous government had been reversed. He assured that this party would aggressively pursue pro-people policies and programs if elected to power.
इन्होंने अपने घर बनाए, लूट लिया जम्मू कश्मीर। इसमें कांग्रेस और एनसी का चौधरी दामन का साथ है। अब तो इनका कार्य देख के मुझे लगता है मुश्किल से कोई सीट मिलेगी। एनसी को मैं सही कहता हूं, मुझे कोई एग्जिट कल रिजल्ट आएंगे आपको मालूम होगा, हमें कश्मीर से मैंडेट मिल जाएगा।
And cricketer turned politician Navjot Singh Sidhu once again held up the development plank as he campaigned for the BJP in the Hiranagar constituency of Samba today. Sidhu said only the BJP could bring progress to Jammu and Kashmir. In particular, villages of border areas like Samba sector that have really faced a tough time because of firing from across the border for decades. Now, the BJP star campaigner appealed to the people of Jammu and Kashmir to give his party a clear majority to form the next government in the state. He urged voters to break out of the decades of dynastic politics that he had said been the bane of the state.
सरकार दो परिवारों के वास्ते हो गई, मैं कोई झूठ बोले मित्रों, मैं गुरु गोबिंद सिंह दा सिख ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਚਨ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੋਦੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਜੀਐਨਕੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੈ ਆਓ ਤੇ ਜੇ 50 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਚ ਜੀਐਨਕੇ 50 ਸਾਲ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਨਾ ਕਰੇ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਜੜਿਆ ਨਾ ਕਹੀਓ ਚਾਲ ਕਰੋ।
Now, Hiranagar Assembly constituency in Kathua district along the border with Pakistan in Jammu and Kashmir has frequently borne the brunt of unprovoked firing that has threatened lives and livelihoods. Yet residents here say they refuse to be cowed down and are eager to come out and vote.
They have felt the travails of living along a volatile border firsthand. Residents of this village town, most of them farming folk, have had frequent brushes with Pakistani militants crossing over into India. Security forces frequently ask them to evacuate their homes and fields, move hurriedly into makeshift tents and schools miles away. It's a tough life, and local authorities feel steps taken by the administration for their welfare leaves a lot to be desired.
हम चाहते हैं कि 5-5 मरले प्लाट जो हैं सुरक्षित स्थानों पे दिए जाएं, बॉर्डर एरिया को रिजर्वेशन दी जाए, जैसे एलओसी एएलसी पे रिजर्वेशन है उस तरीके की रिजर्वेशन दी जाए, पढ़ाई में नौकरी में सभी जगह रिजर्वेशन दी जाए।
The state of these roads reflects a lack of any infrastructure development in the area since independence. Farming is the only real occupation at hand and it is filled with risks. Issues like availability of better and cheaper seeds, fertilizers and a sale depot for crops top concerns. There's little in terms of employment opportunities for the youth either. Yet, what stand out here is an eagerness to go out and vote. Residents say they refuse to be cowed down by Pakistan's effort to inject turmoil in their lives. All they want is a voice that will take their concerns to the right forum.
हमारी बॉर्डर के ऊपर कोई डर नहीं है, लोगों ने खेती भी की है, आगे भी लगाई है, पीछे भी लगाई है फसल, तो ये लगा रहे हैं। जहाँ तक अभी पाकिस्तान का हमें पहले से डर कम है क्योंकि हमारी फौज चौकन्नी है और 24 घंटे हमारे बॉर्डर पे खड़े हैं, हमारी ड्यूटियां दे रहे हैं।
वोट तो हम डालेंगे, चाहे गोली चले चाहे जो मर्जी हो, वोट हम डालेंगे अच्छे उम्मीदवार को, कोई भी हो। तो हमें यही चाहते हैं कि हमारी सारे मसले हल हो जाए।
Hiranagar goes to polls in the final phase of voting on the 20th of December. The constituency presently has a BJP MLA. No definite anti-incumbency wave, but the residents here want concerted action to improve their lot. And they have faith in India's democracy to bring out corrections. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, with that, we're wrapping up verdict. But before we go, we leave you with the story of dry fruits and apples in Kashmir, because this year's floods have really created a problem as far as this fresh fruit produce is concerned, and that has become an issue in the livelihoods of these farmers.
The natural wonders of Jammu and Kashmir go far beyond picturesque locales and tourist traffic. Nature has gifted the state with the ability to produce fruits and spices of rare quality. The floods in September have altered the picture entirely for scores of farmers across the state. Rajouri district, known for its apples and walnuts, has been severely hit. Output is at an all-time low. Farmers blame the government of not doing enough. The only silver lining, low production has meant good prices.
हमको भी उम्मीद है कि पिछले साल के मुकाबले में इस साल की जो पैदावार है कम ही थी, लेकिन रेट्स भी बहुत अच्छे मिल रहे हैं और भी हमें उम्मीद है कि इसमें हमको रेट्स अच्छे मिलने चाहिए.
In the normal course, markets are flooded with walnuts at this time of the year, but things are different this time. Availability is low, prices are high.
तो फ्रूट फॉल होने की वजह से यहाँ पे जो प्रोडक्शन है, जो हमारे एक्सपेक्टेशन है उससे बिल्कुल कम रही है. लेकिन हम आजकल के शुमारे में देख रहे हैं कि जो हमारे रेट्स हैं वो बहुत बढ़िया चल रहे हैं मार्केट में. हमारे जितने भी ग्रोवर्स हैं, हमें चांसेस यही है कि हमारे ग्रोवर्स को पिछले साल के मुकाबले में रेट्स की नवीयत से बहुत अच्छा टर्नओवर आने के इम्कानात हैं.
Government reaction and promises around the floods is predicted to have a strong impact in the ongoing elections, and it goes beyond day-to-day life to the state's economic and agricultural well-being. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.